afternoon, everybody. Ross Skorzewski coming to you live from the set of the Dr. Patrick Flynn Show. Like I said, Ross Skorzewski, I will be your host for the next 30 minutes. Once again, joining me today is the one and only Dr. Patrick Flynn, and we are excited about the show that we have set up for you. And let me just tell you something. Not only are we excited about the show, we're excited about the content. We have a special guest speaker.
Yes.
Before we even get into that, man, the office is changing every week here.
Growing every week.
And so we need to do something real quick for all of you who join us. Once again, thanks. We got 30 minutes with you, and that is a beautiful thing. But Nancy Gruzy, ladies and gentlemen, we want to bring her up here and just welcome her to the team. She's starting to work with us. Golf clap.
She's awesome.
Everybody like and share and just say hi to Nancy.
Everybody say hi to.
Welcome to the team.
Thank you.
Are you excited?
Yes.
Good.
Course.
It's going to change your way
It is.
of living.
Yeah.
Because you have to do life with us.
Yeah.
A bunch of bald people.
That's right.
But an amazing team, though.
Yes.
Awesome.
You want to tell her what she's going to be doing?
No, because I don't know.
Nancy actually comes from a huge background of video production, and so it's going to be kind of cool because she's going to be running our shows.
Yep.
She's going to actually be, you're going to see a lot more YouTube videos out there and a lot more content out there.
Training.
And she is actually the person that's behind all that and stuff like that. So that's because people are asking us for constant information.
Yes.
And you need a professional that does it. So we actually just hired, we believe is the best professional to handle and get our message out there. So it's kind of exciting.
Absolutely.
Thank
Nancy,
you.
welcome
Thank
to
you,
the
Nancy.
team. All right. So then, once again, like I said, we have another special guest who will be joining us halfway through the show. It's Dr. Zach Papendieck from our Appleton office, and we will be talking about the topic of... If you stay for the next 15 minutes, I'll tell you. Mm-hmm. But with that, Doc, hey.
Wait, that was like an American Idol thing.
I know.
Then go to commercial.
I know, right? Cut to commercial. We'll see you later. Anyways, hey, we have an amazing fall lineup. It's already October 3rd. It's insane. Where did the time go? But talk to me. What's coming up on the calendar?
Well, Thursday morning, I fly out to Dr. Jeremy Maxwell down in Columbia, Missouri. We're doing the Hormone Connection seminar. It's kind of funny because, I haven't done one since May and stuff of that because, once again, I'm a dad before I'm a doc, and I'm a husband before I'm a doc, so I want to be there with my wife and kids. So most of the summer, with the exception of being invited to be on Dr. Josh Aksh's, show, I just said, listen, nothing happened that way. So now we start back. Some of the seminars, though, with the amount of requests coming in, I only took a couple because we got so many things. The Wellness Way clinics are growing all over the country. So we just got a lot of cool things happening here, but there's the message of the Hormone Connection seminar has gotten very popular.
Yes.
So I still got to go out and do it, even though, like I said, sometimes when my wife can't travel with me, it gets a little tough because I miss her so much.
It does.
So,
And I know the calendar's constantly changing. You know how I know this too? Because you're already playing Christmas music.
I love Christmas music. The Elvis Christmas music is the best. I love.
Oh my gosh!
I start putting remember at my household, it's the Clark W. Griswold family. You know what I'm saying? We actually have we decorate the house like that. We just love it. It's a Christmas.
It was a week ago today that I'm coming in. You're doing as he does. He's constantly training his staff and all of his docs. And I come in last week, and all of a sudden he's getting everybody who's joining us. We have an online little morning webinar, and he's got Elvis Christmas sleigh bells ring, hardy sling. Yeah, thank you very much. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me!
It's Christmas.
Yeah, well,
who doesn't love Christmas?
It's not Christmas.
If you're
yet.
a bah humbug, I'm not going to like you.
Let's have Halloween first. That's a great idea. And then let's have Thanksgiving. Then let's have Christmas.
Christmas.
Hey, speaking of the Hormone Connection, ending the battle between the sexes. For those of you who are in the Green Bay area, or even the Fox Valley, or even Wisconsin, or if you even want to drive or fly and come in, we would love to have you here. Right now, what we have is Thursday, November 30th at 6 p.m. Location, Hall of Fame, Chop House, which is the former Brett Favre Steakhouse.
Yes.
For yours truly.
Yes, what happened is, it's kind of funny. We get constant emails, and Dr. Jason and Dr. Greg, who actually are the clinic directors here at Green Bay, and they're constantly getting asked saying, man, Doc travels all over and he gets to do this. We haven't had one in Green Bay for a while. So we're doing a very, usually we like to plan for about, 4 to 6 months before we have a seminar that way because it's just getting the word out that way. But Dr. Greg and Jason asked if we could do one here in Green Bay.
Right.
But the only thing is this, there's very limited season. We can only hold 100 people.
And that'll go quickly, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
quickly.
so get your tickets. It's not joking. We don't say this to make a sale pitch that way. But the 100 people, and trust me, the biggest comment you'll ever see is, I wish I would brought my spouse. If a woman comes because they think it's all about hormones and about their health stuff the way, trust me, it's called ending the battle between the sexes, because once you understand each other's hormones, you actually understand how a man and woman actually think and why they think the way they do and what it does to them physically and what it does to them just even psychologically. So we're doing one, when is it again?
It is going to be on Thursday, November 30th. And if you'd like to get your tickets, you can go to DPF NOV 30.
They're not going to remember that.
Well, it's Brandon's.
We'll put the link
up.
Put the link on there. Brandon, Nancy.
Always going to be nice to be like, blah, 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 blah.com. I know, right?
To put the links.
All right, put the link in there. Guess what? But by the way, there is an admission, so get him now, because as the date gets closer, the admission price does go up.
It's $10 a ticket. You know what I'm saying? And then if you wait till the end, it's $20 a ticket.
And then if you wait until the day before,
$500.
$500, which means you're still paying $10 for the ticket, and then the rest goes to Doc and I.
That's right.
Hey, it's a great donation. It'll help me.
That's right.
We're
donating to a very needy family. Ours.
Ours. All right, Doc. Let's get to this first question.
Oh wait.
Whoa.
We got more announcements.
What's that?
Next week. So this week I'm in Dr. Jeremy Maxwell's office down in Columbia, Missouri. So if you're in that area, come see it. But then next week, I fly out and I'm going to be in Kalispell, Montana.
Kalispell, Montana.
So I'll be there speaking, which is going to be awesome because Dr. Sampson and Alex office out there.
Correct.
Been out there. But then it's kind of cool because I'm actually staying out an extra day. My sister lives about 200 miles away, so I'm driving through the mountains to go visit her.
Come on.
In Spokane, Washington. It's going to be a beautiful trip.
Hey, I just spoke with Dr. Sampson.
Yeah.
He had an amazing elk hunt.
Yes, he did.
And he told me he went. So like apparently when
he sent me a picture of that.
Oh, I know
it
was massive.
It was beautiful.
But so he goes to bed, right? So it was raining or whatever. Beautiful sunny day. Woke up, and one of the other days was like 2 feet of snow.
Yep.
Welcome to Montana.
Yes, they've had snow multiple times already.
There, you can go play your Christmas music. The leaves are still on the tree here.
No, Christmas music year-round. I think we should play it right now, Brandon. I think we should play Elvis Flying. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we can turn it on a little bit. But then also, like I said, then we have a couple events in November and one in December. So check, out our website that way. And we'll post all the links below so you can see it that way. But the Hormone Connection Seminar, trust me, I promise you, for Green Bay one alone, it's going to be amazing. For the next couple of weeks coming up there, amazing. I'm very proud of that seminar because it's actually impacted not only health-wise, but also marriage-wise. It's been quite amazing. So,
it's wonderful. All right.
On that note.
Well, this is kind of one of those emotional.
Hi. For all you guys that please like and share.
Like and share. Continue to do so.
Yes.
Yes, it's important to get this information out there. We know that you guys come every Tuesday and digest this information, but as you continue to like and share it, it spreads the message of the wellness way. And once again, we've been doing this. What episode is this today, Brandon? This is episode what? 16. So now we're at 16 weeks where it's all about putting information out there so people can challenge the way they think about healthcare.
But it comes from the people.
Yes, it really does.
All these just are questions that stem from what they want to know that way, because we try to get back to everybody when they send a question in that way. But then you notice that a lot of the questions are very similar because a lot of people are suffering. Their kids are suffering. The females are suffering. There's health conditions. Cancer hurts at all-time high. It's why we even bring on special guests because, like Dr. Zach today, he became specialized in what he loves the most that way, and we're gonna let him come and talk about it.
You guys steer the content of the show, and it's a beautiful thing. So this is one of those emails that I promise you as I read it. This is going to resonate with a lot of you out there who are potentially experiencing the same thing. So we're excited to talk about this one, but it really is a very complex issue. So let's get into it. Hi, Dr. Patrick. Love the show and looking for answers. My son, now 4, was diagnosed with severe autism a year ago. Our doctor told me that this was genetic. He is nonverbal. He cannot communicate with signs or even with pictures, and it's all too complicated for him. He communicates by screaming or crying or kicking and grabbing what he wants. Listen to this. She goes, I'm infinitely sad. Wow. My dream of having hopes and dreams from my son are shattered. Do you have any wisdom to share with a broken and exhausted mother?
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking. And I'm going to break this down, and guess what? Some of you guys are not going to like what I have to say on this, okay? The mother will, you're saying. Some of you guys have been lied to severely, okay? If a doctor tells you this is genetic, run.
Yes.
Run. He is a liar. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And here's what happens, is you're not born that way. You can even look at the definition of autism, even diagnostically that way. It's a developmental disorder, okay? And this whole idea, for example, that a child is born this way is not true. Okay, and see, so that's why, first of all, you're under the care of a bad doc.
Yes.
You're saying? I'd be more respectful for that doctor if he said, I have no clue about it that way.
Right.
You're saying? Tell him it's genetic. Yes, you're right, you idiot doctor. It's genetic for people to scream in pain all the time. It's genetic for this person to cry and kick and have massive, highly sensory things that way.
Yes.
You're an idiot if he thinks that the body is genetically programmed for that. The body is genetically programmed for health, period. There's no other way. It's programmed for it to actually work properly. So when it's not, guess what happens? You're coming from a doc from a totally wrong viewpoint that way. Get away from that doctor. He has no clue what he's talking about that way. He's probably had no positive clinical results with any child in autism that way, besides mentally drugging them and making them a zombie.
Yes.
You're saying? Mm-hmm. Good, we can jack him up on a ton of psychiatric medications and make him stop kicking and screaming. Do you understand? But he will continue to not really develop properly, but actually be developmental disorders that way. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is this. It's kind of funny we're having Dr. Zach today, okay?
Yes, it is.
Because here's what happens. He's going to talk a lot about gluten. You talk to a mom that has researched, a mom that has actually done her diligence about what autism is and how to do it. One of the first things they start to do is change their diet. Because dairy and gluten can be such a massive, highly aggravating, disrupting substance for the brain. It can literally cause inflammation there and destroy it.
Which triggers potentially some of the outbreaks.
Screaming, everything that
yes.
way. That's why you don't just go on YouTube and watch people that have naturally reversed the process that way. They've always started by some dietary change. Now, we deal with it. Dr. Mitch has become just a fanatic about kids on the autism spectrum and children in general because that's his passion.
Yes.
So I got to give Dr. Mitch, he is engulfed in constant, and I've trained him because, I wrote a whole book on autism. I've been able to speak at Generation Rescue and some of the other major autism seminars. Actually, Leslie, the president of Bridge the Gap, she's absolutely amazing. She's going to be on our show one time too, because once again, it's a foundation that helps mothers and parents and it helps the kids actually be able to fund things that they can't normally get medically that way.
Plus a great support group too.
Oh my goodness, Leslie!
And that is
Leslie
crucial.
is amazing.
That's needed.
She's absolutely amazing how she actually helps the kids on some rehabilitation and things like that. She's a gem with kids. I mean, it's just but here's what happens. See, so therefore, when you see this at a young age, for example, that's not the way the body's meant to be. The body's meant to grow and actually develop properly. But there can be inhibition to it that way. There can be aggravators. There can be things that actually inhibit the brain growth. Slow it down, degenerate it. Do you understand?
Do I even go there and even ask what
vaccines.
Potentially?
Vaccines. Vaccines are by far
the biggest trigger.
I will tell you right now, and it's so scientifically proven it's ridiculous. Okay, you want to follow the best. Okay, we have two of the most important women that are going to be coming to our stuff in the next year. Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, amazing woman, absolutely amazing woman. She's going to be. That's an event. November 5th. Is it 4th or 4th?
No, November 4th.
November 4th.
Yep,
at Celebration Church.
10 a.m.
10 a.m. Yes. Dr. Sherry Tenpenny is going to be there.
Women's extravaganza.
She's going to show you the massive damage and the lies they talk about vaccines.
I haven't eaten the flu shot.
Oh my goodness! It's like because she's going to do children and adults, so it's not just for. She's going to actually go and see what they're trying to do business wise to actually get adults more to do that. It's just a business, guys. It's a very important. I can honestly tell you, in 18 years of practice and all of my education. Okay, which is extensive. Even Dr. Zach's going to talk about today. He's got even more of extensive education as we've encouraged these doctors to get more deep that way. I have never seen anything more devastating to health than vaccines and statin drugs. You can eat bad all you want, and guess what? One vaccine is 3,000 times worth, if not more. Do you understand? And so this whole concept that kids are being born this way, no, it's not. They're poisoned from the minute that they come in, and they've developed massive that way. Now, people say, Doc, but there was autism before it was mass vaccine. Yeah, the rate was so freaking small, and we don't want to, there are reasons why that happened too, and stuff like that, because mom's sick herself that way, and it's the prevalence is so high today, it's ridiculous.
Yes.
And it's going to continue that way because the same ridiculous thinking that led to cancer, heart disease, diabetes, fertility problems, autism, everything as all-time high is dominated by a profession that call us quacks.
That's right.
Call us. Really? If I was in charge of healthcare and it keeps on getting worse every year, I would say that I was the idiot.
Yes.
But once again, because it's such a business today, that's why everybody fights about healthcare and who's going to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? Start making people responsible. Get rid of insurance and let them start paying out of their pocket. And mothers, I'm sorry to say this, Mom, I'm going to beat on you guys a little bit. You guys make the majority of healthcare decisions out there today. If you had to pay your own money, guess what happens? You would actually be more investigative.
Yeah.
I don't mean this No, I am. Since when do I care what people think? Here we go. I'm going to generalize, so let's get to hate mail.
Here we go.
Medicare, Medicaid people are by far the worst patients. Do you know why? Because they expect everybody else to pay for it, and if it's not paid for by something they have to pay out of their pocket, they don't do it. Correct. Now, once again, here's the one woman and two women are going to generalize and send me an email saying, Doc, I do it myself. I understand that. But in general, you ask any doctor, we talk doctors all the time, people that actually depend on their insurance to do the stuff that way, they're sick, they're grumpy, they're horrible patients, and they actually won't listen to anything because it won't be paid for by somebody else. Shame on you.
Yeah, but when they have to pay for it, they don't act upon it.
Oh, when they pay for it themselves, then guess what? Now, Mr. Medical Doctor, or even us, question us.
What are your thoughts?
Do those things that way. Do you know what I'm saying? Don't depend on it that way. Anybody that's dominated where their insurance covers a significant amount of things are the worst patients in the world. Ask any doctor. Yes. Because the minute that the doctor says you need to do this, they go, was my insurance pay for it? Guess what? You know what I'm saying? So, once again, I'm going to get some hate mail on that one, but guess what?
Right.
Prove me wrong. You know what I'm saying? If you're sitting out there, no joke. Heck, even ask a person, it's really funny. It's one of the biggest questions we get. Why don't you take insurance? Because I won't let the insurance company dictate what the Wellness Way does for care. Why don't you take responsibility for yourself and pay for something? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm sorry, I'm full of... I can say I'm full of piss and vinegar today.
Well, I mean, this is one of those topics that really fuels the fire for you to have a little bit of angst on the inside, because this is not an easy issue, because the care that these children need, let alone the emotional trauma it causes the families that have to nurture these children, it's very taxing.
It is. Well, see, that mom, that poor mom, she's suffering massively.
Yes.
Do you understand? Instead of a doctor stand up and saying, no, you're wrong. So back to Dr. Tenpenny, she said, no, we're wrong. And she was a medical practice, still a medical practice for 30 years. And she said, you're wrong. And they classify her as a quack. Dr. Suzanne Humphreys. Oh my goodness. She's a freaking genius. I just emailed her a couple days ago to have her come speak at one of our massive trainings that way. Because why? She's a genius. She was a nephrologist that said, hey, guess what? No joke. Go on her website and watch her lecture she just did in Michigan. I think she just posted it like a week ago, or not even.
Dr. Suzanne Humphreys.
She's a nephrologist that she was actually working as a medical professional in a beautiful hospital, and started realizing, man, people are getting crushed by the flu shot and the DPF shot and pertussis, and therefore I'm going to go to the administration and tell them all the things I'm finding. They're going to be excited. They blackballed her. They treated her like that she didn't know anything that way. Really? He was saying, because here's what happens. Here's the criticism. Well, Doc, here's your degrees, so you're speaking on autism. Yeah, and we're the best people to speak on it that way. Here, Dr. Greg is the best person to speak on cardiovascular. Do you know why? Because cardiovascular disease is at an all-time high. It gets worse every year. And guess what? He has developed the Wellness Way approach for cardiovascular that way. And lo and behold, massive clinical success. But once again, it's not the standard of medicine. So someone will come and say, well, my cardiologist said, Dr. Greg's smarter than his cardiologist. He is.
Continues to push himself, continues to educate. And
continues to get clinical results where they don't. I wish, like I've said this many times, and I'm still going to say this. I wish the Wellness Way was so successful because we were so darn good looking. You know what I'm saying?
Zach is.
Well, Zach and Dr. Greg and them. No, it's successful because people get the clinical results that they've not gotten anywhere else.
Right.
That's why all the doctors across the country, you go to any of our clinics, they're passionate, they're strong, they're educated, they actually make sense.
Yes.
No joke. I just got a freaking message from China. Okay. Nice. This is the bad. It's kind of funny because we get these massively that way, and we got to bring Zach on in a minute. But here, I literally got a message from China, and no joke, she's you could tell. I think she learned English when she typed this because she was actually coming. But I actually pulled this out. She's begging. She's begging. Hi, Doc. Please help. Can you help me to get pregnant? I had ectopic pregnancies in 2012, miscarriage in 2016, and she's been through implantation, massive stuff, massive money, and once again, here. I don't even know what that word is. I'm from Bhutan, small mountainous country between China and India.
That's awesome.
Come on.
That's awesome.
You have to Facebook a doctor from Green Bay, Wisconsin, living in China to get these freaking answers? Really? I mean, honestly, this portion, and yes, I'm proud of this, guys. It's not a joke. Our Wellness Way doctors can give you thousands of stories. Heck, Nicole just posted her alone on fertility that way.
Yep.
I've got thousands and thousands of videos I could do just on success stories. So does Dr. Greg, Dr. Jason, all the doctors do. And that's why it's significant to understand that the approach comes with autism, all the stuff that's very different.
So real quick, I just want to make sure.
Start getting a food test.
Get a food test, but go to TWW Clinics askdrpatrick.com and look for a Wellness Way clinic, or call one of them and have that conversation, because it starts with testing.
Starts with testing. And here, let's even give you a little more advice. Go into the doctor, go into Wellness Way, and just
and fire 'em.
Get a food test. No, not Wellness Way, Doc. No, get a food test done. Actually, no joke.
Told me to fire
See
you.
what's inflammatory that's making the brain inflammatory. And that's why we're bringing Dr. Zach up right now.
Yes. So let's do that right now, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome to you, that'll come up and sit with us, and another amazing guest, one of our awesome doctors from Appleton, Dr. Zach Papendieck. Come on up, my man. Let me get this over by you. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and what your passion is in life.
My name is Dr. Zach Popp. I'm down in the Appleton, Wisconsin office and taking up all of your space. But when they're talking about just what my passion is and what it is, it's all about to do with digestion. And you know, Dr. Patrick just said a little bit before on how, you know, just advancing education, trying to learn as much as we can about all those different topics. I just finished up with my master's in nutrition and functional medicine. Graduated.
Wait, so you got an extra master's degree in nutrition and functional medicine, and that's why you can speak on topics just like us. Because once again, and even when you're going through school, we had discussions that even how they're teaching it, it's actually, you know,
it's completely wrong.
It's completely wrong.
So, you know, it's things that you learn that you say, okay, I got to get this, you know, get this down, know it in and out, and then realize the way that it's being taught to people makes them kind of a little bit more confused on the top. And even just when talking about gluten, it's got to be one of the most, I mean, it's complex in just talking about what gluten is, first of all. Right. But the fact is that, you know, some people look at it as you have to have celiac disease. You have to have an autoimmune disease.
What is celiac disease, though, for those people who might not know?
Yes.
Please explain.
Celiac disease is an autoimmune condition that, well, actually right now, I think it's still the only autoimmune condition that they have a known trigger for, and that trigger is gluten. So when your immune system attacks your own tissues, knowing what the trigger is, that means you can eliminate it. Gluten is that trigger. So there's some interesting information about gluten. It has changed with time. And you know, the more we get into the future, the more we're learning about this stuff, where you go back 25 years and celiac disease really is the only group of people, the only population that actually needs to get rid of you know, that trigger. But now, I mean, there's a study just last year. I was just reading this morning too. 2015 actually it came out, and they looked at people that have active celiac, they looked at people that have celiac that was in remission, they looked at people just with a gluten sensitivity, and then they looked at people that didn't have any of those, and guess what, guess which groups created a reaction when they ate gluten? All of them.
All of them.
So a person who has celiac, obviously they would avoid gluten, but what about a person like me, obviously who doesn't have celiac? Should I still avoid the gluten?
Yes, absolutely, because the major reason why we need to avoid gluten is because it we're going to use some big words, all right? It increases intestinal permeability. So what does that mean? A lot of people already know what that means. Leaky gut. So it breaks down that barrier, and it can create more of an immune reaction, and that's why anybody that has an autoimmune condition, not just celiac, needs to avoid gluten.
And the cool thing is this, as we know it being the Wellness Way, we have a great model. We don't guess, we test. Right. Technology, even when I started practice, this lab didn't exist. Even though they knew the thing was there, you can actually get a stool test done, which actually you posted one the other day, where the marker is zonulin. If you want to Google search it, just do it. And zonulin can be picked up on a stool test to see if you have intestinal hyperpermeability. So then even if you don't even have a true allergen from an allergy test to gluten, you have to avoid it because it's going to eventually lead to one. Or even, see, that's one thing people say, Doc, how do I develop these allergies? You beat the crap out of your GI, and then guess what? You start becoming reactive to it that way, and that's why your food test shows up so inflammatory.
And one question that I have for you, Dr. Zach, is, you know, especially with me, it was a few years ago, Doc, when Leslie was having the issue with not being able to become pregnant, is that we found out that she was borderline celiac. So what we had to do was drastically reduce our gluten intake, which meant that we had to change our whole approach to nutrition. So what really is it? I mean, is it grains, or what is it that has gluten?
Good question. Well, when we say gluten, or when gluten is talked about, usually, you know, even just reading ingredients labels, they're talking about wheat. But within barley, within rye, they're very, very similar proteins, and that's why somebody with celiac is actually told, you know, when they get diagnosed, no wheat, no barley, no rye. But there are some people with celiac, they can react to oat. they can react to corn. Because all of those grains have their own type of gluten. It's just that the one type of gluten that they've studied the most is the one in wheat, called gliadin.
Yes.
But just the similarity in those proteins is what makes it important to try to eliminate all grains, and then knowing even just through a food allergy test which ones are even at a different level. It's knowing what you got to do long term on that, and then also retesting to find out how your immune system is changing too. So it's not just wheat, and it's.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying it's knowing that that person's more individual. It's not just here's what everybody needs to do.
It's not a blanket statement,
Exactly.
which really means, once again, just like we did, because it's different for everybody, you must inform yourself, educate yourself, and start reading labels. And because you'll see that something says gluten-free, but does that still mean it's healthy?
That's a big point of confusion. A lot of times people go to the store and go, oh, look, it's gluten-free. Let's buy like 10 of those.
Yes.
Huge problem, because looking at the front of the box, you will learn exactly nothing about what is going to give you nutrition-wise.
Well, actually, legally, they don't have to tell the truth on the front of a box.
Right.
By FDA standards, they don't. They do not. Okay, that's why you can say, for example, like you'll see trans fat free on the front of a crappy product, in the back it has trans fats, because what it says, as long as it's 0.5 milligrams less than what they do, they can put a trans. So the front can lie to them.
Yep, they just play with serving sizes. They'll tell you different things on the front. So ignore everything that's on the front. I try to tell everybody this whenever you have something in your hand, you're reading at the grocery store, just take it, turn it around, or upside down, or on the side, wherever they have the ingredients, and start reading through those ingredients. That's where you're going to learn about what it is that you're actually putting in your body instead of what the front says.
Yes.
I still think it's interesting, though, that you're saying in all of this, even if you're not celiac, if you don't struggle with these issues, that you really should be staying away from gluten as a whole. That's an interesting concept, because what's the trigger? What is someone going to experience on the inside if they continue to put this gluten on the inside? Inflammation?
Yeah, it's a common topic that we cover.
I think Wellness Way approaches that.
Yes. It has a lot to do with that inflammatory response, but I always like to remind people too that inflammation is something your body creates to try to set the stage for healing.
Right.
So if there is something that triggers an inflammatory response, you got to think about why, and then also what that next step is on what you have to pay attention to, because it's not always going to be symptoms. Somebody eats some gluten and they're like, oh, I didn't feel anything. I guess I'm fine with that. Well, guess what? Just because you don't have symptoms doesn't mean that you don't have an issue with gluten.
That's a good
because
point.
it's actually something that can affect your body systemically.
Yep.
Not everybody has just the GI issues from it. It can affect the brain.
Autism.
The term leaky brain.
Autism.
Yeah, absolutely. And even just the skin. So how it affects the brain, the skin, and our GI, that's actually 3 separate processes that gluten can create a disease process. And people that have other autoimmune conditions actually have a much higher chance of developing celiac disease, with those at the top of the list being thyroid, Hashimoto's thyroid, autoimmune thyroiditis, and type 1 diabetes, where the immune system is attacking the pancreas. There's a much higher chance of developing celiac disease because of that leaky gut, because of that intestinal permeability.
So even then with the celiac issue, so when you go to a restaurant nowadays and you say, do you have a gluten-free option? Do you have a gluten-free bread? And they say, yes, but it still has traces of gluten. Should that individual who is celiac steer clear, even though it says there's traces?
Somebody who is celiac absolutely should be very aware of what their food is touching. Somebody who has a wheat allergy, which is different from celiac, it's actually an IgE response, and it can create anaphylaxis. Those people, even if they breathe in any of those gluten proteins, can have a
bad
reaction.
A really bad day.
So, it's different levels of symptoms. It's different levels of exposures that not any two people are exactly the same in that. So trying to limit it as much as possible. If there is cross-contamination, not always is that going to create the same response if you have what's called a gluten sensitivity, or ingesting it in certain amounts. Your immune system is actually trying to protect you, and that's why that intestinal permeability changes, is because it's a protection mechanism. For those that it's going out of control, now it's creating damage. That's a whole separate level. So everybody should try to avoid gluten, but you shouldn't be missing out on the other nutrients. You shouldn't be just going and grabbing gluten-free products just because it's got something flashy on the front. You got to make sure of what it is that you're eating so you can get those those same nutrients. But always be careful of what's in there.
One thing that I always find funny, this happens a lot with our patients. We've discussed this a ton, and a lot of our docs have. On a quick note before we end, remember, corn has gluten in it.
Yes.
It's called maize. And so that's why people go, Doc, the corn chips say gluten-free. No, they should say gluten-free because there is a gluten within corn. And that's why a lot of people go, Doc, I'm gluten-free, but I said, no, you're gluten-free. That's why you're still reacting.
That's right.
And so, Doc, thanks for your expertise.
That's right.
Congratulations on your master's degree. I'm proud of you.
Yes.
And stuff like that. And that's why, for example, he gets to speak on what he does because he's a well-educated man, but a great practitioner. Check him out in Appleton.
Yep. Hey, we look forward to seeing you next week. Give us a chance. Stop the guessing. Get tested. And we will see you next Tuesday at noon.